Welcome back for some squad platoon leader tips. Now let's talk about defending a base. How would you approach fighting back to reclaim a base once the timer is in the opponent's favor? They are really well set up in the point room. How do we get in? Now the first thing we need to look at is how much time is left on the clock. Are we able to get from the spawn room to the point in a somewhat safe fashion, or are they just farming us on the way to the point room? If you have attempted several times running from the spawn room only to get dropped by an infel using a vandal, might be time to call everyone in Valks or Gals and drop on the point. Now if there is still plenty of time for the most part, your first priority should be having some people pull vehicles to do a perimeter sweep around the base for Sunders. It's much easier to capture a base once the enemy spawn logistics are no longer a problem. There are three ways the enemy can keep showing up: a Sunder, a squad beacon, or a router. Now both the beacon and the router can be destroyed fairly easy with EMP grenades and a light assault, going up and checking trees and such. And also be sure to check around the base for Sunders, which are pretty easy to get rid of for the most part. If you have an actual, group of people going out there in tanks, lightnings, heavies going out there trying to find these and hunt these down. So we spawn back at the base, it's under attack, we have some people searching for the Sunders. What's next? Now we need to get into the point room. Now some bases have an alternate route that you can take if the first route is being heavily guarded. So if you go into your spawn room and as soon as you go outside, you have a Reaver, an ESF outside shooting down, you have Maxes, you have infills just watching that point room. Try to see if that spawn room has a teleporter that you can go in to go to a alternate area, a less protected one. To make it easier, let's make a list here. First, we need to destroy the spawns. Second, we need to work our way to the point room. Third, we need to get inside the point room. 4, once we're in there, we need to hold the point and set up if any more enemies try to come back. And lastly, while holding point, have people move to the next region to get on point to make it unable to capture for the enemy. So now that we have destroyed 2 of their stealth buses, let's get back into that point room. Having people trickle one by one will usually result in defeat. Have heavy and light assaults up front, medics in the back to clean up, and infills setting up darts and gathering information. So we've made our way across. The bulk of us have made our way to the point room building. Now what? The biggest problem that comes from getting back on point comes down to this moment, actually getting into the point room. For whatever reason, you have point door warriors. Not spawn room, but point door warriors. These people will never step inside the point room, but will stay out in the way of everybody else and repeatedly die. Now, of course, they're combat medic's best friend from all the Teszro reviving, but nobody is actually pushing in the door. Use smokes, nades, flashes, and make a huge push inside the point room. If you keep going one by one, you'll gain nothing. Everyone needs to run inside together. Now, there is a difference between farming and getting on point. For the most part, get on point with everyone else, a medic will pick you up. So now that we are on point, clean out any existing enemies. While this push is happening, you should have some people, light assaults or infills, outside letting you know if they are bringing up any more Sunders or possibly flying in a Valk or a Gal. Get set up the best you can inside the point room and plan for a counterattack. Even if you don't think they will, it's best to be on the safe side. Because usually once you take that point room, everyone spreads like cockroaches all around the base looking for any, other Sunders, spawns, which is great, but then you have the Valks or Galaxies come and you have an entire platoon drop back on point while everyone else is scattered outside around the base. The enemies are easily going to retake that point hold, so once you see a Valk or a Gal is coming in, have everyone suck right back into that point room. That's why you might see a lot of squad leaders or platoon leaders say, hey, don't venture too far out, let's stay close to the point room. Now once the point is flipped, you should have people already deploying Sunders and getting on point at the next base once you captured that one to ensure that they cannot flip the point that you just captured. So let's recap here. Destroy any spawns their enemy may have. Work your way to the point room. Use alternate methods if needed, Gal drops or take a teleporter for a different route that's not as protected. Next we get into the point room, utilizing smokes, nades, EMPs, and make a coordinated push with everyone inside. And yes, I say coordinated, which we all know that works in Planetside 2 with randoms, but just try to make some kind of push together. Get back on point and clean up while waiting for a counterattack. And once the base timer gets low enough, start sending people with Sunders to the next base. Now understand that this is a very basic overall video about getting back on point. There are many other complex situations that will happen that as a squad platoon leader, you will have to make decisions on the fly. But also understand you won't be able to learn, make mistakes, and become a better leader if you don't put yourself in those situations. don't be afraid of leading. Now that's it for this one, guys. If you have any tips you want to share or questions, drop them down below in the comments, of course. But for now, hope you have a great day, great night, wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.